Hey everybody, Grest here. So today we're going to be talking about buffer tubes. So not all buffer tubes are created equal. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the ones that I got for you today. So one of the things that's absolutely important for your rifle is a good quality buffer tube, otherwise known as a receiver extension. And there's many different ones out there from many different vendors. A lot of them are very similar. Definitely stay away from the no-name brands, the ones that have questionable quality. So I always look to somebody that has a well-known name and a well-known record for quality, such as Bravo Company or Spikes Tactical or Aero Precision or Brownells. The first buffer tube here that I'm going to show you is actually from Aero Precision, and this is just their standard carbine buffer tube. Nothing fancy. It's made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. It is a mil spec diameter buffer tube, so there are different thicknesses. Make sure whenever you are buying a buffer tube receiver extension that you get the proper diameter, as well as the stock that you're going to install. Make sure it is a mil spec diameter or a commercial diameter. Commercial diameter buffer tubes are kind of seem like they're going away. Most everybody seems to be using the mil spec ones these days, but say a decade or so ago that was more of a thing. You would find a lot of rifles that had both commercial diameter versus mil spec diameter. All right, so more about this basic buffer tube receiver extension is that it does have drain holes in the bottom to allow water fluids to drain out, and it is hard coat anodizing as well. And of course you can get these in different colors and stuff like that. The big thing about the buffer tube is the material being a 7075 T6 aluminum, so it's got the proper strength per mil spec, and then also the hard coat anodizing as well. So I've been using a lot of these Aero Precision basic carbine buffer tubes over the years, and they've never failed me. However, they do offer some newer style ones that may offer a little bit of an advantage. So let me take a look at one of those. So here is one of Aero Precision's newest offerings as far as a receiver extension slash buffer tube. You can see here they actually engraved their logo on the bottom there. It does have the 6 detent positions here with drain holes as well, but if you look at the overall profile, it does have some differences. It is also 7075 T6 aluminum with hard coat anodized finish, but if you look at the front, it actually has this little bit of a lip. So what they call this is their enhanced buffer tube. If you look here, your buffer detent, your spring and buffer detent will kind of sit right about there. And what this does is kind of prohibits the chance of that detent popping out. So if you look at a comparison here with the standard carbine buffer tube, it has just like a little bit of a raised portion there, but that's about it. And pretty often you can, if you don't get this threaded all the way in, the detent for the buffer can actually get worn out right here, and then it can actually pop out, and that basically locks up your rifle hard if that happens. Okay, so this here tries to minimize that from happening by having this extra material, and then the buffer detent, just a little kind of tip that sticks out, will sit inside of that little cutout right there. Okay, the other thing you might notice is that this is contoured similar to the way the rear of a receiver would be. So here I have a receiver, and you can kind of see how that contours pretty much the same. And here you can see with the enhanced buffer tube kind of threaded in, it's only going to have room for that little detent pin to be sticking out. So less chance of having any sort of malfunction or failure due to that. All right, so something else that's a little different on this enhanced buffer tube from Aero Precision is the rear is ramped to help facilitate the installation of a stock. If you look at this compared to the standard mil-spec carbine buffer tube, it does not have that. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to get the stock on there. I mean, I've never really had an issue, but this is supposed to help facilitate getting your stock installed. All right, so that's two different buffer tubes, receiver extensions that are out there. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of different ones as well. And let me show you one other buffer tube assembly that's kind of the Cadillac, in my opinion, of buffer tube assemblies. And you guys have seen me use these on a few builds in the past. And this is actually from Primary Weapon Systems. So Primary Weapon Systems makes this receiver extension, and it's actually has a lot of weight removed from it, so it's actually lighter than your standard one. It also has that kind of enhanced section right here for the receiver, just like the Aero Precision enhanced one has. But what's really sweet about this one is that your castle nut is actually a ratcheting castle nut. So when you torque this thing on here, it has this little tiny detent right there that locks it into place. The receiver end plate also has a built-in QD attachment, which is really slick. And this thing is just a, like I said, it is truly the Cadillac, in my opinion, of receiver extensions. Now you can buy the castle nut and the ratcheting end plate separately from the receiver extension themselves. I think the entire package, as you see right here, is somewhere just south of $100. But if you just want to get the end plate and the castle nut, they're $25 or so for that setup. Yeah, it might seem like a lot, but I'll tell you what, not having to worry about staking my castle nuts and being able to remove this whenever I want to is not a bad thing in my opinion, especially with the amount of projects and stuff that I do. This is really kind of a game changer for me. All right, so this is just an example of 3 different buffer tubes that I happen to have handy at the moment for various projects and stuff that I'm working on. Again, lots of different buffer tubes available out there. Put down in the comments below, what's your favorite buffer tube / receiver extension? I know there's a lot of different other ones out there that I didn't cover. There's different lengths and rifle lengths, stuff like that. I was focusing specifically on carbine length buffer tube extensions. But tell me what you think. There's, again, quite a few different buffer tubes available out there on the market today. All right, so I appreciate everybody watching today's video about buffer tubes and kind of some of the differences and some things you can look out for. If you're interested in picking up a buffer tube, definitely try out my Linktree link down below. It'll lead you over to Brownells, where I get majority of my parts, like this handful of buffer tubes right here. Any questions, comments, put them down below, and I appreciate everybody watching, subscribing. I'll catch you all in the next video. Y'all take it easy.